Hi, this is Dave Philippi. This lesson is going to cover how to put text on an arch and also how to take that text and convert it into AutoCAD entities so you can send it off for production purposes to a water jet cutter or laser jet or wherever you send it off to. Now, if you have a full version AutoCAD, you have available to you a collection of express tools, and one of those tools will automatically put the text on an arch for you. It won't create the AutoCAD entities out of the text, but it will do that part. If you are a user of LT or you're using an OEM program like FabCAD, you don't have access to those express tools. So I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to create arch text manually. So let's start off with the scenario that you have a 14-foot wide driveway. So I'm going to draw a line 14 feet long. And then let's say the arch is going to be 3 feet tall. So I'll just draw a line from the midpoint here up 3 feet. And then we'll just draw our arc. Now let's say that there's going to be 20 characters on the sign in the arch shape. So we'll go to the divide command and divide this segment into 20. So we'll type in 20 and it gives us 20 letters. So just to get an idea how big those letters are going to be, let's do an align dimension, say from the node here to the node here. So about 9 3/8 is the distance between each one of these nodes. So we'll space out the letters accordingly. So let's create a letter. So I'll just click on the text here and I'll just do a letter A. Okay, letter A. All right. Now we'll move this over to the arch. Okay. Rotate it. Like so. Oops. Let me take the snap off. Try that again. Rotate. Get it pretty close to there. Okay, there we go. Now, scaling it, we can scale it a couple of ways. We can use reference and scale it exact, or we could just go by a visual. So let's just try a visual, this situation here. And we'll just scale this thing up to something like that, and then move it down. Now, if you have to work with an exact specification, let's just take a look at the actual width of this text right now. It's 6.5. Say you want an 8-inch, say you want a 7-inch, exactly a 7-inch text. So we can do it that way too. So we can scale and pick a base point, say right there in the center. And then we'll use R for reference. And the reference length would be 6.5, and the new length would be 7. So you don't need a calculator to scale up items to whatever size you want. So let's erase this and let's remeasure that. So let's take a measurement and see how close we are to 7 inches here. Okay, well, pretty right at it. Oh, no fair. Okay. Now, we also need to know the number of degrees in this arc for doing a polar array. So we'll go up here to the angular dimension, and it calls for select arc, line, or circle. So we're going to pick this arc, and it's 93 degrees. So we'll keep that in mind. I'll just move this over to the side here. Okay, we don't need these nodes anymore. So let's erase these nodes. Notice I'm using a window, so whatever I surround, it erases, not what I cross through. Okay, so now we're ready to array this. So we'll go to the array command, and we'll use the classic array, because we're going to probably do a lot of previewing here. So I'm going to select the objects, which is this letter, and the center point of the array. We'll pick that next. That'll be the center of the arc. So I'll go down here and snap to center. And you see down at the bottom there, that little arc there. Okay, then the number of items is 20. And the angle to fit is 93. Okay. Now you notice in this little box preview, 93 has this thing going down, arraying from here down. We want it to go the other way. So let's put a minus in there and see what that little preview does. Okay, so now it's arraying the direction that we want to go. So let's preview that and see how that looks. So we preview it, and we'll see that it's going beyond a little bit because it actually, we forgot we have the thickness of one text is what we're off as far as the degrees. So let's just go back and let's change the degrees and see what it looks like. So to do that, I'll just hit escape. I didn't accept all the parameters out of the array, so we'll change this minus 93 to say minus 83. See what that looks like. Preview it. Okay, so let's split the difference, hit escape, and let's say 87. Let's see what that does. Preview that. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so I just hit right click or enter to accept the array. Now I want to center it a little bit more, so I'm going to rotate all of this, all of these letters. So that it's centered on the circle. So the center point will be the center point. And I'm just going to just move my mouse around here and get it. Like so. Okay. It's pretty close. All right. Now, then you go in and you change the text, each individual text. That's just a, so double click on this. And this will be B. I'm just going to do a couple of them. Double click on this one. See, and so on, okay? All right. And once you've got your text, and then of course you're going to have spaces, so let's erase some of these spaces between the words. Okay, something like that. All right, now, what we want to do next, if that's all we need to do, we don't need to be making anything, then you've got your text on your radius on an arc. But let's change these to AutoCAD entities. And the way you do that is it will export this into a Windows meta file and then bring it back in, and then it'll come back as lines. So let's go in and let's do an export. And we've got different things we can export this to, and the Windows meta file is the one we want to use. So let's just call that TXT1, and we'll select these letters to export. So we'll put a window around that, and a window around all that, and a window around all that. Okay, then we'll do a file import the meta file, text1, and there's our in lines now. Okay, so now it came in as a block. So we want to explode, have to explode this. So now we want to explode we want to get rid of these lines, but we don't erase the whole text, so we'll have to explode these also. So we'll explode this. And then erase the lines inside here. Okay, and you have to go through and do this on all of them. Okay, I know this takes a little time, but it's a lot quicker than having to trace these, trace the text. We're drawing arcs and circles and everything, and trying to create this manually. So then I'll just explode this and erase the lines on this. Now, if you're sending this to a laser cutter or to water jet, they want to make sure everything's connected. So the best way to ensure that is to use the join command and join all the segments of this into one letter. So you know that everything's going to work. Okay. Now, one thing that did happen when we brought it back as a meta file, it picked up the size of the original letter. So let's move these letters over. And let's copy this arc here. And we want to scale this thing up. Okay, so we go to scale, and we want to scale this up. Here we could probably, base point I'm going to pick is here, and I'm going to click R for reference, and I'm just going to point to the outside of this text here to here, and then type, and then the new length I'll make it 14 feet because that was the original width, and then move this down and see how, well I'll just move this is easier to move this, move all those, move this up and just put this in. Okay. Alright, so we've got our arched text. We've got the text now converted to Autodesk entities, AutoCAD entities. Send it out to the plasma cutter or the water jet cutter for final production. Take care. Bye.